So you've all been working with the nature essences throughout the year, or throughout the program, and many of you were working with them before that, having come to see me. I would like to hear from a couple of people what your experience has been working with these essences and why you think they work for you.
Mindfulness. It's really great when, even when I'm traveling or I'm at work or I'm in a stressful situation, whenever I do a spray and I smell it, it's like aromatherapy, and it completely snaps me into relaxation of what my neutral state is.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you can get out of your own way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also feels a little bit like protection, kind of before I walk out the door. I just, and then I feel like I've got this thing around me.
Yeah. You're really honoring yourself when you work with this kind of medicine. And you could say that the same thing happens when you take a Tylenol. You're taking care of yourself. You're also putting into your body chemicals that aren't necessarily coming from this place of love, where these essences have come from. And you know that each one is handmade. We make them all ourselves. So what I want to do today is I want to take you through the journey of the essences, of my essences, including the 4 new essences. And then I'm going to teach you and show you what you're going to do with your mothers. These are what this is. So this is the jars that people were using, Sharon, these beautiful blue jars. And this is called your mother.
Okay.
Your mother essence. Okay. So the very first essence that I ever made was Deer Fern, which is now called Acknowledgement. And I made this when I was up doing my energy medicine training, and one of the things that we were learning about was how to make tinctures. Not these, but tinctures. The difference between a tincture and what I create is that a tincture is to be taken internally. It's oral. It's brandy, water, and then the vibration matrix of the plant or the animal. You can drop it on your skin, you can put it in a glass of water, you can put it right under your tongue, you can put it in your bath. I wanted something that had more to it. I wasn't feeling really the charge of the tinctures, and tinctures work beautifully for a lot of people. I'm not putting them down at all. But for me, I wanted to have something more. I wanted the essence to have something more to it. And I really loved the idea of using it as a spray, because now it's in your aura, it's in your energy field. And then I love aromatherapy, so I thought I'm going to try blending in the aromatherapy and let's just see what happens. But at the time that I was making Deer Fern, as I say, I was off on a week-long retreat doing my energy medicine course. I had just left my marriage. I was shell-shocked.
Yeah.
And I was skinny as a rake. I'd lost about 40 pounds. Can you imagine where would I have lost 40 pounds from? And I was in shock. I had post-traumatic stress syndrome, absolutely. And our teacher said, what we ended up doing was a full day of silence from 9 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock the next night. And it was really, really powerful. That's why we do the silent walk. You get a 20-minute silence an entire day. And part of what we did in that day is we walked out into the environment and we connected with whatever it was that was going to come and work with us. And I knew I wanted it to be a fern, if I had a say in the matter, because I love ferns. I love how primal they are. I love that they're one of the first plants on the planet, way back when. And I love the connectivity that I feel when I'm working with fern. So lo and behold, it turns out that yes, I got to work with a fern. I was up there in April. There was very little in bloom in Port Renfrew in April. What I did manage to find though was a little deer fern with all of the old last year's fronds lying down on the ground, and about 3 new fronds that were just starting to come up.
Oh, wow. Those are so beautiful.
And so I sat with the fern and I asked, may I work with you? And I was told yes. And then I said, and what is your message for me? And I wasn't actually thinking anything was going to happen, to be totally honest. It's like, I'll probably just make something up. Because, how is this going to talk to me? It's a fern. And knowing I was already doing this work, but I still hadn't had that experience yet in that way. So as I'm about to answer my own question, the fern starts talking to me. Totally different voice. It was more of a knowing. Information was imparted in that absorbing kind of a way. And the message was about acknowledgement. Fern said to me, this is about acknowledgement of self and others. letting myself acknowledge what I had been through, what it took for me to get there, the courage and the trust that somehow it was all going to work out for everybody's highest good. I was not in a place of acknowledging that yet, because what I still had ringing in my ears were all the accusations and the, I'm going to say this word, then we'll cancel, clear, deleted, all the hateful things that were being directed at me. That's what I was still hearing. So dear Fern said to me, we need to clear that. And he said to me, for me to be able to hear and acknowledge when other people compliment me, and to learn how to say thank you. And to know that when I give someone else a compliment, it must be authentic. It must come from my solar plexus and my heart when I say it. Then Fern went on to say, not only that, but I'm excellent medicine for shifting family dynamics.
Oh.
Well, that's interesting. I never would have made that one up myself. So working with Dear Fern when you're going through difficulties within the family and helping to shift those relationships and change that energy. And then Dear Fern said to me, I'm not done yet. I have a third medicine, and that is fostering and creating a sense of belonging.
Oh.
Dear Fern said to me, you are a part of this planet. You have every right to be here and to walk on the planet. You are a part of the planet. Every human being is. So Dear Fern then said to me that one of its medicines was to shift apocalyptic thinking. So that's the thinking that we're cancer on the planet, we're doing horrible things to the planet, and we don't deserve to have this planet because we're not taking very good care of it. And what Dear Fern said to me is, you're still so young. You just don't know yet how to take care of the planet. He said to me, you're like teenagers, and you're rebelling right now, and you're pushing all the buttons, and you're seeing what you can get away with. And your species will mature, and as your species matures, your relationship with the planet will change, and you will become the true stewards that you came here to be. So there was a lot of medicine in Dear Fern. The only thing in Dear Fern is that deer frond. There are no other plants in it. Right? So that's the story about Dear Fern. On that same week, I made Incoming Tide. And we talked about this when we were on the water, here come my goosebumps, yesterday, because as we were doing our meditation on the water, we were in that moment of slack tide. The tide had been coming out, and as we lay there on our boards in that beautiful bay, the tide turned and started to, had been going, it turned and started to come back in while we were sitting on it. That's what the water is for incoming tide. During the class, we went down to the beach at Botanical Beach. Has anyone ever been to Botanical Beach? So beautiful, yes. So magical. And we waited till the moment of slack tide, and then we each scooped some of the water. And this is the original water. This was 5 years ago, and I still have the mother. And that's what Incoming Tide is still made out of that particular water. And what I was told, what the tide told me, is that the essence is for radical transformation with ease. And I was surely in a place of radical transformation, and I really wanted it to be easier than it was being. So it was just perfect, and it was just as simple as that. And the tide said to me, just think of the cycles. Think of what happens when I go out and I leave all those creatures and plants on the surface.
Yeah.
And they have to trust that I'm going to come back in 6 hours and re-nourish them again. And they have to trust that when I go out, I'm not leaving them barren, I'm going to come back. So it's very much connecting with the cycles that we go through in life, especially when we're in radical change, and trusting that we'll move through it, trusting that we'll be nourished and that those waters will come back for us. Interestingly about Incoming Tide, which is now called Radical Transformation, nobody wanted to touch it when I first created it. And I had a lot of clients coming to me who were in radical transformation. They didn't want it to be easy.
Oh.
Oh, right.
I was attracted to it immediately.
Yes! Well, something shifted for a lot of people around 2012, 2013, and I made these in 2011.
Okay.
People started coming back to me and saying, can I have that Incoming Tide essence? I'm ready for it to be easy now.
Oh.
Our culture teaches us that things are hard,
Mm-hmm.
and that if it's not hard, it's not worth it. Right?
Yeah.
We learn
No
through
pain, no
tragedy.
gain. Yeah.
We don't actually learn through tragedy. We learn after the tragedy when we're back in a calmer space and we can reflect upon what was happening. In the moment, we're like this. Ah! Ah! There's no growth
In
when we're
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Right? We actually grow profoundly when we are in peace and contentment and safety. That's when we do the processing of our work. That's when we grow. So incoming tide doesn't take you out of whatever events you're in that you've called into your life. It reminds you that you can take that deep breath and trust. Okay, I will move through this. It will be fine. And when you do that, you unhook yourself from everybody else's drama, and it becomes easier to move through the events. So whatever it was that shifted for people in 2012 and 2013, they were ready. And so then many more clients were coming in and saying, that's the one. Whereas before they were going, I can't. And maybe they didn't want to acknowledge that they were in transformation. I could see it, but maybe they couldn't. Or they were so used to being in that state that the thought of not being in that state was scary.
Yeah, it does become habit forming.
Very much, very much. Heart Pool was the third one that I made that week. I was very busy. It's very industrious. And this is water collected from an enormous heart-shaped tidal pool that you see at Botanical Beach when the tide is really, really low. And you can only see that it's a heart pool when you stand above it and look down. It's Botanical Beach is a series of shelves, of sandstone shelves that go out to the water. So you look down at this and there's this huge heart. And I saw it immediately and I was so excited. I was jumping up and down, trying to get photographs of it. That was the moment my camera decided no more batteries. And I had this bottle of water, full bottle of water, and then no other container. So I'm standing there at the edge of the heart pool, chugging my water down so that I could fill it. And again, I sat and I asked the waters of the heart pool, what are you for? What is your medicine? And may I work with you? And what I was told for heart pool is that it is all of the energies that are in that tidal pool, every creature, right down to the microscopic ones. And that they are all there to help us with deep emotions. So heart pool is for that grief that you think is never going to end, for that anger that you can't seem to move through. It's for big, big emotions. It can be also for joyful emotions. It doesn't necessarily have to be the tough ones. And the idea being that as you breathe it in, you connect right here to your heart. And you let yourself feel what you're feeling. You let it be okay that you're angry or jealous or resentful or thrilled or scared. You let it be okay. And then you connect with heart pool and you breathe it through and you move through it. So you don't fall into it, but you acknowledge it. The only, so that this is like a million little creatures in this water, but one aromatherapy. It's only rose. And it's, when we start talking about the aromatherapy, I'll get into that some more. This is the only one of my essences that just has one smell in it. Full moon, new moon, these were created that same summer, I think, or was it the year next year? Oh, it was 2012, it's the next summer. These all came in fits and starts, right? I didn't sit down with the intention to make them all. They showed up as they were needed by either myself or by my clients. So new moon, full moon is the full moon, full lunar eclipse, the new moon, full solar eclipse, about a month apart. I put the water out in a clear jar the night of, let it sit all night to be charged by that energy, and then worked with the symbolism of that. I was attracted to making this kind of an essence because of how much I just love the moon, and I've been working with moon energies since, I don't know how long, since my whole life, probably. So recognizing that on the full moon, we're full up, we release the things that are no longer for our highest good, and we sit in that releasing energy until we switch to the new moon, where we then call in the things that are for our highest good. So similar to what we did with the 9th chakra activation yesterday, we give back to the world the things that we've taken from it. So we open up space, and then we fill that space with our own things, our own responsibilities, our own ownership. and then with the eclipse energy as well, that amplifies and deepens the work that you do when you work with the full moon, new moon. You can use them as a set, 2 weeks of the full moon, 2 weeks of the new moon, do a 30-day program with it. That's really powerful. I've had some clients change their lives in that month without even realizing what they're letting go or what they're calling in necessarily. Very, 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 very transforming. You can also use them independently depending on where you're at in your life, never minding the moon cycle. So even if it's a new moon, but you know that you want to clear out that closet, spray full moon first, clear out the closet energetically as well as physically. Doesn't matter if it's a full moon or a new moon. Or you're working with beliefs and you want to remove some of those beliefs that are limiting. You would work with your full moon to release. You would work with your new moon when you want to bring in new ideas, new opportunity, and information. So these I had made them initially for myself and then saw the application and how powerful they could be for other people, and they got put into the mix. Dream Spirit. This is one from my office during a workshop on dreaming and astral travel. It was a 5-hour workshop, a full day workshop, and we put the water underneath the sofa and we charged the water with everything that we were learning during that day. And a lot of what we were learning during that day is how do we sleep, what is sleep, how do we go back to sleep, why don't we sleep, a lot of the insomnia questions and concerns that people have. So Dream Spirit was created then to help with sleep, connecting to your dream landscape, dreaming, astral travel, all of those things. And at any point in time, just to calm. So this is a really great one for anxiety. If any of your clients or family members have anxiety, work with Dream Spirit. It does have mugwort in it, and some aromatherapists will tell you that women who are pregnant should not be exposed to mugwort because it is known or believed to induce labor. So unless they're ready, just to sort of stay away from the mugwort if they're pregnant. So that, and I don't know. I don't know if that would have an effect or not. I can't. Yeah, I don't know enough about it.
In a spray form,
say.
yeah,
In a
it would
spray
be
form,
different than
and it's such a small
actually
amount.
ingesting it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you use your discretion with that. Boundaries. How many people here have worked with boundaries?
Yeah.
This is such a great one. So you may already know the story. I'm going to say it again though. This was a client sitting with me in my office, remembering about the sexual abuse that she experienced at the hand of her older brother when she was little. She was starting to remember. And she's telling me the story and I'm holding space for her, but at the same time I'm looking out the window out my office where there used to be a fence full of morning glory. I would let the morning glory grow in the summertime and that would be this beautiful flowery fence of morning glory. And as I'm hearing her and I'm holding her story, I'm also hearing on another level, she needs morning glory, she needs morning glory. Morning glory. Well, I know there's something I wanted to do with morning glory, but it hadn't come in yet. And then it hit me because she said the word bully. She said, he's such a bully still. And then she started talking about being bullied at school and this whole thing, and it was this most amazing experience of, okay, she's talking, there's the flower, there's the word bully. Oh, boundaries. Morning glory is for boundaries. Because look at the symbolism of what a morning glory does. It's quite pretty. It's a pretty flower, which is distracting. Most bullies are pretty charming.
Yeah.
But that's the distraction. That's the reel in, and then they start working on your energy. Morning glory will take over in a very short period of time. It's a bully of a plant.
Yeah.
Doesn't care for anything else.
Yeah, takes over blackberry bushes even.
Takes over blackberry bushes, yeah. There's an interesting energy, right?
Amazing. Yeah.
And yet, when you start pulling it up, it breaks really easily. And although each little piece can become another plant, and that's kind of how bullies work, like once you expose the bully, you're no longer the target. But if that bully isn't doing his or her own work, they'll just go and grow somewhere else and do it again. However, what you've done in that moment is you've created your boundaries out of total honor for who you are in your space. And when you work with boundaries, what you're saying to your whole system is, I allow people to come in or not to come in. My choice, my sacred space. So you're not working with boundaries from a position of, I gotta protect myself. You're working with boundaries from that place of, this is mine right here. And I'm honoring this space. excellent, excellent essence for anyone who's in healing. Spray it before you go into your space of healing, spray it afterwards, spray it on your patient or your clients. Excellent if you're going into a space in which there are people that you know tend to be aggressive with their energies. And it's a great one for clearing at the end of the day. Did you remember we did the aura clearing in last workshop? You can use that essence spray really powerfully for that. Oh, and the best part was, so I made it for her. She took it home. She came back for her next session a week later and she said, "You'll never guess what happened." I said no. At work, I said no. It felt so good. And her whole energy had changed.
Yeah.
From this, walk all over me, to I said no. And it was respected. So boundary went into production. So connecting, this is another one that is a client story. I had a client I was working very deeply with. She was actually mentoring with me for a number of months to learn how to do all this and do her own work at the same time. And she was having marital problems, had been for a long time, and it was kind of the key to a lot of her health issues that she was experiencing. But she kept saying to me, the thing is, I don't want to leave him. I want to be married. He's the father of my child, and I know I could love him, and I know he could love me, and I just don't feel like I'm done. I don't want to leave him. I want to stay married. I said, okay, then you're going to have to change something about the way that you are showing up in this marriage. You need to communicate with him and not let him bulldoze you, as was her experience, when you say what it is that you need to say. So as I was teaching her how to make these, I said, go out into the garden, find your flower, bring it back in, and we'll make your personal essence. It's part of why we do this now, because of the training that she did with me. So she went out, and she sat in the garden, and then I just gave her all the time that she wanted. She came back 2 minutes later. She said, I got it. And in her hand, she had this beautiful little teeny tiny strawberry flower.
Oh.
Pure white.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wonderful. We're not going to look it up yet. Let's make your essence. Choose your aromatherapy. Go, work with it. Come back. And then we'll look it up. Then we'll see what strawberry flower is all about. So we did. Off she goes. She comes back the next day or 2 days later for her next session. And she says, I sprayed my essence. I didn't tell him what it was or what I was doing. I just said it was room spray. She said, I sprayed the essence, and he immediately came to me and said, I want to sit with you and hear what you have to say. He'd never done anything like that before. And she said they sat on the sofa for about 3 hours and had the best conversation they'd ever had. And she spoke her truth. So we went through the books and we looked up strawberry flower. Strawberry flower is for connecting with your inner beauty, and then giving yourself the confidence and the skill to share that inner beauty from a place of authenticity with other people in your lives. So communicating or connecting went into production. And have I got these mixed up? Communicating. Oh, I do. Okay, that's communicating. Sorry. This is communicating. Right, this is the one with the strawberry flower. And was it this one or was it? Yes, it was this one. Another friend of mine who was totally skeptical about all of this. If it's not in a pill, it's not going to work. But I said, just birthday gift. Go just spray it around your house. And she emails me about 3 days later and says, I think you need to change the name of that essence. You need to change it to Love Potion number 9. She says, men are coming out of the woodwork and talking to me right now. She said, now I have to spray my boundaries in order to keep them away.
Nice problem to
So,
have.
Love Potion. All right. And then connecting, I get them confused. Connecting is a lavender-based intuition essence.
Okay.
Again, I had so many clients say to me, I want to feel the way I feel in here, out there. Can I just bring you home with me? I finally said to one of them, why don't I just make an essence instead? Like the essence of Psy-Chick Healing Studio, the essence of Megan, the essence of the work that I do here, and all the healings that we do. So we took the jar of water, we put it under my sofa, and left it there for a whole week. So every client that came in, every transformation, every healing, all that energy went into the water for connecting. And then I picked lavender from my garden as the flower essence that's in this one. So this is an excellent one for intuition, for working with clarity, for clairvoyance, for connecting to higher source and self, and just generally connecting to your own healing, because it's full of healing and healed energy, already healed energy.
That's what we were spraying before our nature walk yesterday.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So clarity was the next one that was created, and this is one from the summer solstice. And what I did with this one, and this was my own personal need, I was embroiled in my grandmother's estate and all of the
You made that last year.
all the stuff that was going on with that. Because I needed to understand what the motives were of the other people. I felt like I needed to know this. And now I can't ask them, and I didn't want to make it up. I didn't want to start assuming that I knew. And I knew I wanted to make a summer solstice essence anyways. So I put the water out on the summer solstice for the 24 hours. And that particular summer day, that first day of summer, there were so many white flowers in bloom in my garden. Different varieties of white flowers. There's 11 different white flowers in here.
Wow.
There's a lot going on with clarity. But before I put it all together, I thought, okay, I'm gonna use it myself. I always test it on myself first. So I took the tincture, I went out in the garden, and I started gardening. And within about 20 minutes, a question popped into my mind that gave me that, oh, that's what the motivation is. Because I asked the right question. Right? Nothing to do with the other people.
Yeah.
This is about dispelling the illusions that you're holding yourself that are getting in the way of your interactions with others. That's its foundational meaning. It's also excellent just for clearing, for getting clarity. You're stuck on a problem, spray clarity. And then allow the question to pop up that's going to take you to the answer or to the solution. The aromatherapy blend for this one was created up on the shrimp. So it's got a strong connection to Mayne Island. And then what I've been working on, and they're not in production yet, but what I have been working on are spring equinox, winter solstice, summer solstice, and autumn equinox. This one I made last year at the retreat. So these are all, and they'll be sold like this as a set, and each for different things connecting to the seasons and what the symbolism is of each of the seasons for us. So summertime is all about clarity and openness and moving through the shadows, because there are no shadows at noon on the first day of summer. Spring is all about renewal. So great for new beginnings. You're moving, or you're in a new relationship, or you're starting a new project or a new business, or you just want something new in your life, you could work with spring and renewal. Winter is about karma. The actual name of it is karma. And that is connecting into those darker, deeper places in your soul to do that soul work. You would work with the winter solstice. It would be also a really good meditation one, going deep. Into, think of the silence of winter and how everything is asleep and you go into hibernation. Mama bear energy, that sort of a thing. And the autumn one is regeneration, rejuvenation. There's something that occurs as we move into autumn where things start getting excited again. Right? We go through summer and summer slows everybody down and we sit on the beach and we read our books, and then there's this revving up that happens in the autumn as we bring in the harvest, as the trees do their last hurrah, the berries start forming, the animals start collecting in preparation for the wintertime. So we're working with that energy of rejuvenation, different than renewal. It's not new beginnings. It's an excellent essence for working with closure. That just came to me. Wow, that's really powerful. It's an essence for closure. Ooh. Can you feel that? Oh my gosh. Wow. I love this stuff. I love it. I just love it.
I was getting letting go. Kind of like
the leaves falling and
let it go. Release
oh
it.
my gosh, there's so much heat around that. Can you feel that? Right, we're all going to spray that at the end of the retreat. Because beautiful closure. Closure is a really beautiful thing. It's very powerful to have that, to say, okay, I'm done. And I can move into something new now. And the other one that I'm working on is the one that we made during our past life workshop. And this is the one for doing that past life work. So when this goes into production, I will make sure you each get a bottle. because I guarantee that you will be doing past life work with clients and friends. As soon as you say anything about, oh yeah, I've trained to do past life regression. Oh, really? Can you do that for me? Even if they don't believe it.
Yeah.
Lots of people are
Curious.
asking about it.